Hey, it's the Chubby Bartender Podcast with your host, Jason Gillum and Chad Reynolds. With a special guest each week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hey,
what's going on? We're back.
We're back. Yeah. What's been going on, man?
Hey, busy weekend, man.
Busy weekend.
Yeah, I had the 4th there. It seemed like we had some sort of party going on every night and baseball all day. So it was our last weekend of baseball. It's been a great year, but glad to see that come to an end.
Well, congratulations. Welcome to summer.
Yeah. Hoping to maybe fire that Jeep up or something.
Yeah. Well, hey, we got to thank a few people. So let's start off. These guys are also, some of these guys are Jeep sponsors, and one of those guys is Brad Munn.
Oh, Brad Munn.
Let's talk about him.
Over 40 years serving the area.
Brad and Sarah Munn of Jackson, Wellston, Oak Hill, and MacArthur McDonald's. We thank you for everything. To quote Pat Ball, we thank you for what you've done.
Yeah. Thanks for what you've done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who else you want to talk about?
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about people that might be looking for a job.
Hey, over at thinkhire.com.
There you go.
Larry Kidd and the crew over there. Do you know anybody looking for a job? You guys know anybody looking for a job?
When you mention job, I get goosebumps. I get nervous.
Yeah, well, I sure do wish people would take advantage of that. Go over there if you're having trouble finding a job, having trouble getting back in the flow, getting things going. Give them a call over at Hire.
Yeah, 740-395-0100 or thinkhire.com.
Yeah,
look them up. You'll be glad you did.
Yeah, the next thing, let's go to, let's earn the day.
Over at AP Prep.
Yeah, AP
Our boy
Prep.
Jason Prater.
Yes, absolutely.
Man, he's been biking.
Yeah, well, I mean, that guy's always doing something.
He's not just a businessman.
No.
He lives it.
He lives it. I mean, have you seen Gabe Griffiths lately?
Yes.
I mean, my God, if there's a man in better shape than that, I don't know who it is.
Michael Leach, maybe.
He might have it on him. He might have it on him. Might have it on him.
Maybe.
But I'll tell you, they do a great job.
They do. They earn the day.
Yes, every day. And, I mean.
Check them out at apprep.info.
Absolutely. And, hey, you got a big construction project you need done?
I know who to call.
Yes.
Scott Massey. Geiger Brothers Construction, 740-286-0800 down there on Rouse Street. Hey, speaking of community, they're big in our community too.
Oh boy, they are.
They do a ton. So we thank you, Geiger Brothers. Thank you for sticking with us here, and we appreciate everything you've done for us. Who else we got?
And we've also got, when was the last time you had your insurance quoted?
Give me a call, 740-395-0357, Gillum Insurance, or send me an email, jason.gillum@american-national.com.
Doesn't get any easier than that.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. But we got 2 special guests on here today. We're going to talk about killing some stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ron says, well, we are.
Yeah. We're going to talk about killing some stuff.
Yes.
Which is one of my favorite topics. But these two gentlemen, I've known you both for a long time. But got to know you, and one topic that you and I always talk about is your bear hunting. And you have turned into the Jeremiah Johnson of Appalachia.
How about that?
But you've always been into dogs and running dogs and hunts. Whether or not you've always enjoyed hunting, whether or not it be with a dog or without a dog. And I know a lot of that comes from your grandpa. You've always mentioned grandpa anytime that you guys we've talked hunting, so it's just cool for me to have grandpa and grandson on here. So I know you're proud of your grandson because I've been a buddy of yours now for several amount of years.
Oh yes.
So hey boys, I got to know. So last year we killed the black bear, right? Or was that 2 years ago? The first one.
2 years ago, I killed a 360 pounder, and this previous year, my daughter, she killed a bear herself. That's what we try to promote. It's about youth. It's all about youth getting out there, and it's not necessarily about the kill. It's just about
the hunt.
It's about the hunt and the dogs and the training, and people don't know the hours that go into it. It's every day. It's like having farm animals, and you know what that's like.
Yeah. So take me start to finish. I'm sure, Chad.
I got to hear about the process, man.
Yeah.
So and what I didn't realize is that you were doing this locally too. Whenever I've heard of people going bear hunting, they're going out west or
it all goes back to my grandfather's dogs. They're called Plott dogs. They're from Germany, and they'll basically
Plott dogs.
Plott dogs. Yeah, they're basically like a brindle collar and black, mostly a little bit of tan through them, and they'll run hogs.
30-inch dog. How big we talking here?
Well, there's different breeds.
They're normally it was in the 55 to 60 pound range, 23, 25 inches tops in height wise.
Bigger than like a brace dog, beagle dog.
Yes.
Little, not by much, but right there in that same probably stature of dog, right?
Yeah, they're a lot of people think of foxhounds. Well, they're shorter than a foxhound. They're not as tall, but they're more robust build. They have a thick chest to them, a lot of wind capacity for a long period of time.
And they come from Germany.
Yes, a very tenacious type animal. Not towards human beings, but towards the game that they're pursuing, and that's why they're used principally in big game, although they're pretty popular with a certain group in like coon hunting and smaller game.
So you can diverse their training.
You can absolutely, and they're also. In fact, I sold 2 of them more years than I counted a town. Now that it was used for rescue.
Rescue dogs.
Yeah, you can. They've got the nose to do whatever you want to train them to do.
So just an all-around hound, basically.
Yes.
Just a good hound. I mean, I don't mean that the way it sounds, but like that's what they are. They're tracking hounds.
Well, I've always said, there's 6 breeds of hounds out there that's used for coon hunting and for bear and mountain lion and that type of thing, but most of them hunt because of their instincts, but the Plott dog absolutely does try to please its owner. I mean, it's unbelievable what they learn and how they become attached to you.
So did you start them off on bear?
No, I did not. That's principally Michael's deals, the bear. Mine was always coon hunting.
So this is the breed that you were coon hunting with?
Yes.
All those years. So you've been into this breed for 40 years then, or how?
Do I really have to tell how long?
You don't have to if you want to.
But my first Plott dog was I was about 10 years old.
Okay.
And I'm a little older than that now.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll be 82 here in a few days.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah. So I've had them around, and what I didn't know at the time, there was a fellow called Brownie that run Lake Jackson down at Oak Hill. Uh-huh. He's the one that brought them into this region and created the first Plott Association. Well, they were bringing him and Fred Maynard and Lloyd White and guys like that were bringing them out to us guys that were kids, me and my brothers, as puppies, and we were training them. We didn't know what I was doing.
You were training them for them?
Yeah, we just take them out in the woods because we was kids. We wasn't with video games.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. That's how I became acquainted with them. And even through my tours, the 10 years I was in the Marines, in 2 different military bases, I had Plott hounds on the base.
Really?
Yeah.
That you brought in there? Or
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And of course, it's one of these things that, as Michael knows, people all over the United States.
Yeah.
And when you roll in fact, I'll tell you one little brief story on that.
Hit me with it.
We're
here all night.
Well, I lived in government housing, military housing. It was a duplex, and I had a dog tied out in the yard. And there's this gentleman, about 6'3", comes in, and he said, Plott dog. Yes, sir. So we're talking. I knew he was military, but I didn't know what. Well, it turned out to be Lewis Walt, a 3-star general, Marine general. And here I'm a corporal.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who he was at that time. Yeah. He was a visitor on that base. But he wanted to go coon hunting, and we did go coon hunting one night with me and him and the base barber.
Okay.
So we went coon hunting. So I can always say I hunted with a real Marine general besides that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you started. So you've been with these things forever, and then you got into like you started off with squirrel dogs, kind of, didn't you? Didn't you kind of start?
Yeah, I've always had coon hounds that we started off with, but then I've ventured. Of course, ever since this has been going on for 30 years. We get on to Rock Hill, South Carolina, and this is how much things have changed. Which they had real live bears, real wild hogs, and I'm talking about they would just rip you open, and now things have changed. That's what, hunting has changed. The humane side, all that stuff. You can't be mean to nothing like that, but it's just something I remember, a big old black bear and a wild hog with tusk on it. And we was doing this stuff when I was 5 years old, and then I kind of branched off. That's what I wanted to do. I first started out bear hunting, stock hunting. Remember I told you, like canal, like horse trails I'd walk down or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, then it came to my mind that, hell, I got Plott dogs back at my house. I could be running them instead of stalking them, and that's kind of where it all took off from. And that's you go down to West Virginia, it's not like it is here. You don't know. To get from one mountain to another will take you
a day,
an hour, or an hour to get to this one. But by the time you're to that one, they're already to another one.
Yeah,
and it's just a different kind of hunt.
So you go down to West Virginia, down at you don't have to tell me exactly, but what region?
It'd be close to Snowshoe.
Close to Snowshoe. Okay. So what kind of bear population do we have down there?
When I first started hunting 4 years ago, there was 10 to 12,000 bear in West Virginia. And a lot of stuff that you find a lot of bear in is mines that wasn't open for 20 years.
Yeah.
And now that they're done mining or logging, they'll let you in there, and the bear population.
You have to talk right in that thing.
And the bear population has just exploded,
So what's the population of West Virginia now?
No, I haven't. I don't think they've updated in a few years, but I'm guessing it's way over that. They've actually had the highest bear kills last year than they've ever had. So
okay.
And
what was that number? Do you know?
I think. No,
if Tyler was here, we'd have him.
Yeah, he'd be
I don't know for
that,
sure.
yeah.
If Tyler was here, he'd be all over that. So how far will they circle? I mean, are they circling it? So show me how they. How do you get them on bear?
Yeah, what's the technique?
It all goes back to what he was saying. That's what I wanted to get. Like you can, my dogs, I can drop them on a coon track, a bobcat track, a bear track, anything I want them to run. They're that gamey, So. Most of the time you'll ride the old logging trails, gas lines, just like you do when you're jeeping or something like that. Uh-huh. And you'll have a strike dog, and the dog will open up when you come across a track, and that's where it all begins. And it just depends on what kind of bear it is. Normally,
so how do you know it's a bear? If they'll pick up a bobcat, and
a lot of times you don't drop till you find the track. You'll waste your time on a lot of stuff. You want to find the track.
So you're going down the road, and then you'll drop the dogs maybe a couple times.
Well, that's the reason you want to find a track, just for that reason. It could be.
So you want to verify it. You're going to go look for a track in the mud or something.
And I operate 10 dogs at a time, so.
That's a lot to handle.
But but I don't run them all at the same time, because a good bear race will just wear them out.
So you'll drop 2 packs?
Yep, 5 and 5 most of the time, not unless it's heating up and we really need. If it's been going all day, we'll put the extras on there. And
when we was doing that rabbit hunting, like if you ever had a pup or something in the back of the truck, it screwed up. I always thought it screwed up the day. Because if they'd be barking in the box, I know it sounds kind of petty, but it happens.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll just go back to the box, and it just makes for an aggravating time.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're taking 10 dogs out at a time.
10 dogs at a time, and by the time we come home, they're all worn out.
They're all worn out.
Yeah.
So are you got tracking devices on them?
Yeah, the Garmin's, we got just the latest equipment.
Yeah, heck yeah, there we go. Yes.
I guarantee the Garmin, it won't fail you, but when you need it the most.
Yeah.
So how far are they running these things? Rabbit circles.
Depends on the size of the bear. Some bear, the big bear, they won't climb a tree. What you want them to do is, like during kill season, is you want to get there. They'll bay them, and you want to keep from baying them as much as you can, because they get hurt.
What's baying them?
They'll come up. They'll back their ass up to like a cliff rock or something, and sit there and fight the dogs.
Fight them all. Yeah, you don't want that, do you?
No, and you want them to climb. You want them to get out of danger's way. You know what I mean? And
do you know? Is that like whenever they hold up a rabbit or something? Whenever they got one bayed.
Yeah.
By the bark.
Well, they pretty much. whenever I was a kid, we used tracking systems where you hopped out of the vehicle and you circled. It was beep beeps is what they call them. And whenever the direction of your dog was, the beep sped up.
Oh, I never had them.
Using an antenna,
Okay.
Now,
a directional antenna.
We never had them. We just had to go to the dark, But I wasn't in the dark. I was daylight. I was rabbit. I was with rabbit dogs.
now your Garmin will tell you how fast your dog's moving,
That's
how
what
many
Dad
times
said.
it barks, and if
That's
it's
what Dad
treed.
said.
If
Yeah.
it stays at one spot for long, it'll say it's treed.
These
And,
tracking collars are unbelievable.
oh my gosh, yeah,
Yeah, they're unbelievable.
It's crazy.
So what's your average? You think? Okay, so let's talk. So you don't know. So what are you planning for when you go to West Virginia? Are you planning for a bear that is going to run? Or are you planning for a bear? I mean, is that typical? I mean, are they a big bear down there? Are they small?
Yeah, on the average, they're about 150.
150.
And when we try to do, it all goes along with just like killing a little deer or something like that. If it's a little bear, you want to let it go. And and with kids, that's what I was saying. It used to be when I first started, it was about me killing something. It's not about the killing no more. I've kind of evolved.
Oh, you ran dogs down there for what, 2 years before you ever hunted them, didn't you?
Yeah. I've been doing this for about 6 years, bear hunting, but I've been coon hunting all my life. But it's when you see a kid. It's something. It's something else. And honestly, even as a grown man, seeing a bear in a tree is just something else.
I ain't never done it.
Even a raccoon.
Yeah.
Raccoons. Anything, and that's why I try to promote. I like to get kids out there. It's
Me and Chad were talking, before you guys got here. A lot of it's about, controlling the population.
yeah.
I mean, I know hunting is a tender subject with a lot of people. I've always done it. I get it. I mean, it's just like there's some animal. We were talking like on the way here. There's animals right now that are in areas that they never were before.
Absolutely.
And sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's bad. Like I can remember whenever I was younger. It's coming back. I will say it's coming back. But like rabbit hunting died here for several years, just about the time that they introduced the coyote population.
Absolutely.
You remember you used to never hear about coyotes.
No.
Up until what, 2000 probably.
I can tell you as a kid growing up, there were absolutely, if somebody
deer.
seen a deer, they talked about it for
Weeks.
months.
Yeah.
And that there was a deer seen three counties over.
They stopped on the side of the road. If they had pictures, they took it. It was like a bald eagle sighting.
and there were no bear, there was no bobcat, there was no turkey.
Yep.
And of course, there was a lot of quail back in some of those days. Quail's around here pretty scarce.
Now they
anymore.
are. Yeah, there used to be.
But the coyotes, and like I said, there wasn't any coyotes. There was foxes.
Yeah.
But the coyote has had a big effect on the deer population. They've had a big effect on the raccoon population.
Turkey.
And turkey. They're truly a real varmint.
They really are.
House dogs, house cats. They live on. But there was a reason that they're here because there was a food supply,
Yeah.
and that's how people really don't think about that. But anytime there's anything around that way, it's always about the food supply.
Always.
If there's no food, they don't exist. And talking about this hunting deal with my grandson, there were also other kids. His brother Ryan was a little kid, and Penn White.
Oh, yeah.
And Sherm Baisden, and Joe Dixon. In fact, I run into a kid back a couple of months ago out to
was in it.
Walmart, and I cannot tell you his name. He said, "Well, yeah," I knew who you are. I said, "I coon hunted with you when I was a kid," but I'd have half of Jackson.
Yeah, coon hunting's not that big anymore, is it?
No, and again, it's the area you have people who go out here and build a house or put a house trailer up and have an acre of ground, and they want to control the next 300 to 400 acres around them.
Yeah.
And but it's again, I find if you go get permission from landowners. They like to have you around.
The coon population is thick.
When I was a kid growing up, if you harvested a raccoon, one or two in a season, you had a great dog.
Oh yeah.
And then
What are you getting now? 4 a night?
yeah, that's usually the limit.
Is that the limit? 4 a night?
I suppose it still is. I haven't paid any
There's
attention.
no limit on them no more.
You know, when you get a certain age, you quit killing.
Yeah.
That's basically what it boils down to.
It all goes back to the dog thing. You don't have to kill them.
No, that's what
if
it
you
was
have a
about.
dog, they'll tree them every time, and you don't have to knock the meat.
It
out.
was always about the dog, and if you're in a dog sport, a gun dog type of sport, it's about the dog. I think I never did like guys that jump shot rabbits. I mean, it's not that I didn't like the guys, but we always were against jump shooting rabbits. We were there for that dog to run.
Yeah.
So you'll load these things up. Are you going to public land, or you guys private land?
I've tried a little bit on both. West Virginia's a little bit hesitant to accept you in. And then I started getting on some leases. There's big timber down in there, and a lot of people use it for deer hunting leases and to ride the side-by-sides. Side-by-sides picked up in the past couple of years, and they'll accept 20 bear hunters or something on their lease, and you get on there, and they want them off there. That's how many there is, because it's not like a deer. They'll go
They'll raid your camp.
They'll eat all the food you put out there that night, and then they'll sleep on your feeder. Like taunting you. It's just something crazy, and it's. A lot of people. That's what I want to. Like hunting is about control. ODNR and all the places they do studies, make sure there's enough animals, and you know what I mean. And that's the same way as if you didn't kill a bear, well, you'd have people in town. And, you see them in town sometimes.
Why haven't they made it up here yet? I mean, I know you get your occasional bear sighting across here every now and then, but
there's a bear population permanent here.
In like Jackson County,
Yes.
think?
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong; they're not by the hundreds.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember I attended a lot of game hearings over the years, and they talked about in the eastern corridor of the state of Ohio. One time, they considered that there was 50 bears in that area. I'm talking about from Zanesville to Lawrence County,
down to Lawrence and over. Yeah.
And then a few years ago, they said, well, there's probably 100. And then, honestly, about 3 years ago, one of the, let's just say there's an individual that's involved in it, said at Zalaski, said they probably had 40 to 50 permanent residents in Zalaski State Forest. So, again, really a bear other than a man, there's no predator for him.
No. No.
That's right.
And, so...
I'd say them cubs and the coyotes maybe, but mama bears.
And mama bear's pretty tough. But what they really do, they have to have habitat and they have to have food.
Yeah.
If you see a lot of sightings out by Lloyd Bridge Road, is out by Cantor's Cape. There's a sighting out there 2 or 3 years. That's honestly, you'd be surprised even in West Virginia or Ohio how many when the foliage is grown up, how much stuff you actually drive by and you don't even know
it's there.
You don't even know.
Yeah.
You never would know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, man, I'm in the woods with them horses a lot. I mean, you may hear them. You know how you'll be walking along and you hear something take off and you just assume that's a deer. Very well could be
But they don't want to see you.
No.
And they'll hear you coming.
They hear you.
And it's the same way with bobcats. There wasn't any bobcats, and now they're prevalent. I mean, they're run over on the road.
Yeah.
That's like you out riding horses. How many times have you seen one?
A bear?
No,
Bobcat, never.
I see one a week on the Hammertown trails.
Do you?
On a camera that's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're there.
They're there, yeah.
And like he used to say, you can't hunt Lake Catherine, but you get a lot of animals that come out of that area. Mm-hmm. They venture off, raccoons, bobcats, anything. Hell, there's supposed to be bear there too.
Yeah.
And
I saw one in Benton County. I had one come up a haul road whenever I was at Sands Hill one day.
Yeah.
There was and I think it was headed to Rumpke.
And see, it's
Yes.
the same way there
Yeah.
with Richlands being shut down, all that stuff. If
That's big
nobody's in
country.
there,
That's but compared to West Virginia, that's baby country.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that's a big area. You know, this whole river frontage, I guess. That whole area down through the southern part of Gallia County and all that. That's it's just not big like West Virginia is it?
Well, no, the population in West Virginia, of course, it's very thinly populated,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of government-owned land,
Yeah.
and big corporations own a lot of land, and they grow the timber, and
They have
it's
the
like growing
habitat.
corn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They do it, and it's again, there's feed then for the animals, and
Yeah.
And-
So will you ever go down there and blank? I mean, you ever go down there and don't pick up don't have your strike dog don't pick up or anything?
There's a lot more longer days than there is shorter. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you. It's. I'm telling you, it's like a game of cat and mouse, and I'm not kidding you. You'll get on a big mountainside on the lease that you're on, and there'll be a Elk River where I hunt, and there'll be a highway up here, and you try to keep the bear in between that area. But if it gets out of that area, if it crosses that river, it's crazy. And
So
Will your dogs cross that river?
some of them will. I have different ages of all dogs, and that's part of training a dog. You wouldn't think that water would phase them, but if they see another dog do it,
They'll do it.
they'll do it.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's good to have an older
lead
dog
dog.
around. Yeah. And you just try to do it. It's definitely, it'll frustrate you a lot.
So what is the strategy once you drop the dogs? Forgive my ignorance, but like now what? Are they going to drive the bear back to you, or how are they how are they trained to run? On that?
They're trained to just get. You want to. It all goes off a bunch of things, like how old the track is you found.
Okay.
If you can tell that it's a fresh track.
Right.
You want to dump on it, because if not, even it'll take the dogs. I mean, a bear's quick. It'll take them a long time to run that thing down.
Okay.
But my
If
dogs,
it's got a quarter-mile head start on them, you're
that's big. And
That's big.
another thing is people's dogs. I live in Ohio and I have bear dogs. I mean, I'd go to West Virginia. A lot of people laugh at me. I got a buddy that's got bear dogs, and his dogs will put a bear up before you can even release yours. I've seen it done before, and his dogs are just, he can go out his front door and turn loose on one, so there's a difference, but you just want to treat it as quick as possible and nothing get hurt,
So
no people or no
you're
dogs.
shooting them treed. Whenever you kill one, you're
And
killing
I'd say about 50%'s killed on the ground, and 50%'s a lot of times if they
Bayed.
wear them out. Yeah, if you get them in a river or something, they'll bay up and you can shoot them there. And that's really what you want to do. You want to shoot them as quick as possible. Cross it.
That'd be tough though with your dogs. If it's bayed up there with your dogs, that'd be
It's very tough. It's very tough to go in after your dogs. A lot of times, if they bay up, they're in water, and it's the same way with hogs. A hog will run right through you. He'll break both your legs.
That's what I told Chad.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
He-
yeah.
I said,
he
"They'll
don't
kill you."
care.
I said,
He
"Those
knows
hogs
he's
will
about
kill
ready to die. It ain't nothing
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you to die.
yeah.
And they have this movement. And they'll cut a dog open. They can swip their head like that, and they'll cut their guts right open. They know what they're doing.
There is one tale that I got to tell on the grandson about hog hunting. We turned loose in a particular state of Ohio forest, turned the dogs loose after a coon. They hit a track. Now, keep in mind, this is probably about 10 o'clock at night. 5 o'clock in the morning, they're still driving that track. And we seen it later. It was a hog that they're running. People think a hog can't run. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And we had dogs after. Well, anyway, the dogs end up treeing. I said, well, we've been wrong all along. Grandson goes down to the tree, and they've treed a hog. Except what it is, it's a tree where the hog rubbed up against it. They could smell it, and they treed. There ain't no dog there, or hog, it's already gone. But there it is. So I tell people all the time, well, I've got dogs that
Treat a hog.
Treat a hog.
I was telling Chad, do you guys see hogs here? I mean, have you seen them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there. I don't know of any that's like around our area right here immediate, but there are in Jackson County. I've got friends of mine who.
I hunted them in like Patriot down in that area.
Oh yeah, they'd be there.
Wayne National.
Yeah.
No, Brandon.
And in the Oak Hill area, Cooper Hall area, there has been, and a lot in Zalaski.
Yeah.
Although I think about a year ago they hurt the hog population that was there by trapping them, and they wanted them out of there because they do damage.
I was telling Chad, they'll just, it looks like a rotor-tillers went through your property.
Absolutely.
I mean, they'll just, which in turn kills the vegetation, which kills.
Well, and you
everything.
probably got to watch your dogs with those things, don't you? I mean,
Yeah, it's just like a bear.
I was gonna say a berry. And a
yeah.
picnic.
Oh, yeah.
It's really what you want to get there as quick as possible, because the longer you wait, you don't know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't.
Well, one thing about it, if you've got a hound, the dumb ones won't make it because they'll close in on, and that's what you want, a tenacious animal, but you got one smart enough that knows how. And there's a lot of, in the hogs, there's a lot of catch dogs, what they call is used. They run in and grab a hog with the ear and pin him. Well, the Plott dog or a hound is probably not very good at that, but they need to get up right in the face and keep them held where they are.
Well, that would be a skill just trying to keep it there.
It
Oh,
is.
yeah.
There's dog.
be like
train
cutting
your
a horse.
you train your pack just like that. You don't actually want them to catch it. There's some of them that do, that want them to kill it, but that puts your dogs in. That's a crazy dog, and he may make it once, twice, three times.
He ain't gonna make it every time.
He ain't gonna make it every time.
Yeah.
You want dogs; they'll work together, and really, what you
They
got
have roles.
Yeah, they'll bite. There'll be two on its ass, and they'll be biting its ass while another one's at the front. And that dog will turn around, and then the other dog will do its work. You know what I mean? And it'll keep it, bayed. Bayed is what you know.
I've seen when we had at Rock Hill, South Carolina, we had those American Plott Association hunts down there, and it was once a year. It was always in March. And I've seen dogs down there that when they was using the live game, that dogs got killed
Yeah.
because the hogs got that.
Oh, my, yeah.
The big tussle on them, and they're when they drop down on them knuckles and get that chin about 6 inches off the ground, and that dog comes in, they're going to rip him from one end to the other. He's gone.
Well, that's their defense.
Yeah.
They do that with fox, coyote, whatever would what would jump on a hog in the woods? Coyote would be about the only thing. I doubt a coyote would even.
Because he ain't gonna last very long. If you better have him a big pack.
Coyote's more of a rabbit killer, a bird killer.
I've seen hogs way worse than bears before, honestly. As far as roughness, and they had a wild one that year.
How much do these hogs weigh? 60?
This hog, right? Yeah, he's probably every bit of 60. Yeah. He ran right through a damn fence, and they caught him. They trapped him out of the wild, and it's a good thing that they didn't have him pinned up, because they didn't ever catch him again. But that hog would have tore a lot of dogs up.
Well, you remember the year we was down there? They had a fence around them. The fence was probably 6-7 feet tall.
That's what I was talking about.
And the hog cleared it.
Really? If pigs could fly.
Yeah.
I mean, you sit around in amazement, especially when you're primarily a coon hunter.
Yeah.
And you get around the big game events,
Sure.
and it's just a different thing in it.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And Michael, he's been a good student. He started going with me when he was probably 3. Mm-hmm. And we always had to stop and go.
Oh,
and we
yeah.
had to get Twinkies and Slim Jims.
Oh, yeah.
And then by the time we got to where we were hunting, Jim Gillespie and I, he and his brother would be asleep in the back seat of the truck.
Yeah.
They done filled up and eat. Well, now see, it's changed. Michael goes and gets all the stuff, and I sit in the truck and sleep while he's gone.
So you got to do an out-of-state tag, an out-of-state license. What kind of cost is all that?
Yeah, it's the tag's $180 some. You can kill 2 bears for that. I don't think it's a bad deal.
That ain't a bad deal.
A lot of states, just like Ohio, I looked into it, and I was a lot of people pay. That's where the hunt. Ohio Jackson specifically raises a bunch of money off deer license.
Yeah.
You could go around this town during deer season and during shotgun season and not get a hotel room, and that's the same way it is with West Virginia. but I have way more in it as far as the dogs and just getting down there. I drive back and forth a lot, and
you'll get down there during the day sometimes.
Yeah, and see, that's the way their seasons come in. They open the southern part of West Virginia. That's where they open it first. Now you can run them and tree them like anywhere in West Virginia, but you can only kill early season like south, and then they'll move the season on up.
Okay,
and that's to try to even out the bear population, because where Ohio is in West Virginia, the bear population is coming from Tennessee, Virginia, down in the southwest, and then Maine and Pennsylvania and up in the north. So there's more down in the south. So they try to get more hunters to go down there,
Okay.
and you can kill 2 out of different counties. You got to kill them out of different counties there. So.
And you also got to count whether it's bear or raccoon. You got to figure the cost to the person who's doing it. You got a pickup truck involved, whatever you want to spend.
Box,
and the truck itself.
The purchase of the dog.
Then you're talking $1,500 for a good Garmin system and tracking collars.
That's for one dog,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And it, like I say, you just got the investment.
Do you have all 10 of your dogs tracked?
Yeah, $300 a collar. Yeah, thanks to my grandpa. Yeah,
They're lifesavers, though, ain't they?
Hey, you won't.
I mean, man, I've spent a lot of Saturday nights looking for beagles.
I think an investment of a hunter that's hunting with hounds, like we do. I don't do any of it much anymore, but I think you'll have an investment of somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000. When you count the truck and you count all the electronic equipment that you have, the fuel involved. I mean, it's
the dog,
and that's one of the things that's hurt the hunting is because of the cost.
Yeah,
and it's hard to do that on $10 an hour.
Well, and you guys probably have a good investment, like per dog. You're talking about like what if a dog gets hurt or whatever? I mean, that's not good.
No,
I mean, then you're starting over with.
I just had our main dog. We've had him for 9 years. I just had him put to sleep. It was $1,000 in one day, and that's just one. And I average my dogs from anywhere from 500 to maybe 1,500.
How often do they get hurt or something like that, man? Is that a common occurrence?
It all goes to back. It all goes back what he was talking about. How stupid they are.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, you have old dogs and they won't hardly. They know what to do. And they'll stay back. You have a young dog in there, and that's probably where you have to in a fitness. That's what I was saying about time and stuff. Their pads on their feet. You can't just get out there and just run them.
The worms, the vaccinations, and keep in mind to buy a quality pup's going to cost you about $500.
Yep.
That's at 6 weeks.
The kennel.
And he's not going to become anything productive at all until he's at minimum 14, 15 months old, and maybe 2 years.
Before he's
so look at the countless hours that you have in that animal getting to that, and then somebody wants to give you $50 for him. And you turn around. It happens on an occasion that somebody doesn't want on their land, but Ohio has the right of retrieval. So you have the right to go on it whether you have permission, because no dog don't know boundaries.
Yeah,
he only pursues the game he's after. So you got to you go in there, and sometimes they'll kill all the dogs at the tree.
Yeah, yeah.
And in fact, we had one. What's been a year ago, that here in Jackson County got out of the kennel, got on in the guy's yard. I mean, this is a dog that raised with little kids and just loves them. He killed it. Here's a dog that honestly that was probably worth $1,500-$1,700.
Yeah.
And he just shot it in the yard, said he was going to attack his kid. That dog might have licked it to death.
Yeah. He was just treeing. He'd never seen one tree.
No, he wasn't doing anything. He just didn't run through the yard.
Yeah, he just broke loose and just a lot of times they'll chase cat. I got a lot of cats around there, and it was just a freak accident. When I got there, that guy, you could tell how nervous he was. Like, you didn't have to shoot him. I know he wasn't mean, because that's one thing that he's always taught me is never have a mean dog, and I don't recommend anybody have. You know what I mean? I don't care what kind of dog it is. if you got a mean dog and if it's one time, you got to get rid of it. You know, especially if you got kids. I mean,
and that's where you try when they're little puppies, you feed them all out of the same pan, and you got the aggressive. You got to start
social
eliminating.
skills. They need social skills.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the best thing you can do is put a little kid with them, let them waller them around.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what Dad always used to do with his grandkids. He'd say, "Here, take some pups to go waller them around, get them used to people."
Yeah, and you say you'll eliminate them if they start showing aggressive.
Oh yeah, you
behavior
have
at
to.
the start. Okay, yeah.
You have to. First of all, nobody will want to be around you to hunt with you or anything like that if you're attacking their
most
dog.
of the time it's another dog. You don't, and they'll attack your other dogs. You don't want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It happens a lot in dog fights.
I think what's killed the hunting around here is just options to go places to hunt.
Oh my God! It's
If you're not
killing hunting altogether.
If you're not on public now, I mean, I hate to say it, I've lived here all my life, and I've always hunted. Now I've taken some pauses through the years with it, but you know, and I know a lot of people. You guys know a lot of people, both of you, everybody in the room does. And last year I hunted Cooper Hollow some, and it was like back whenever I was growing up, that was known as a war zone.
Oh yeah.
But now I'm thinking to myself, there's 6,000 acres there. I don't know that, you know, if you're not really ambitious at this stage of the game, I don't know how many people's actually out hunting anymore compared to what they used to be.
They want to sit and play the video games.
It goes down about 4% a year. If you look at it, the hunting, the license buys go down about 4% a year.
Yes.
One of the big things is the prices. You know, they're traveling. They're traveling up here. I mean, it's a lot.
Well, you know, both
Takes a lot.
my dad was not a hunter. I mean, he did rabbit hunt and squirrel hunt a little bit, but he was not a hunter. But my two grandfathers on both sides were fox hunters.
Big time back here.
Yeah. And then they did do a little coon hunting. But again, 1 or 2 a year and that kind of stuff. And that's what I grew up with.
Yeah.
And I just become fascinated with dogs, and they're athletes.
Oh, they're amazing.
And it's unbelievable the tenacity that a dog has to pursue the game. I mean, he'll be wore out, and you've hunted him for a week every
And if
night.
he smells it,
and he's going to go.
he's going to go.
And you know, people think, well, they're being mistreated. Well, they're not. That's what they're born
love
and
it.
bred
It's
for.
what they want to do.
They do. They love it. It is crazy how
And
much they love
then
it.
me and all my brothers hunted. Now they all eventually pretty much dropped off. Now they do a lot of deer hunting and stuff, but they just the cost.
Well, the gun dog stuff is, like you said, it's a lot of work. I mean, as a guy that's getting back into hunting, you know, Dad's still rabbit hunting. I don't necessarily know that I have time to be a good rabbit hunter right now because it's a lot of work.
Oh yes,
You got to train them dogs. You got to keep them. You got to run them. You got to feed them every day. You know, the bow hunting. You get home, you put your bow up in the case, and you call it a day. And don't worry about it. Check
well,
your game
you know,
camera.
and like I say, that's something I've done all my life. And then the two grandsons and Michael, he stuck right with it, and he's been at it.
You hunt
roughly-
everything.
Yeah, I was going to say the first dog that I actually bought on myself. Me and him went to Virginia to get it. She slowed down a lot, and I started tracking deer with her. Throughout the 2 or 3 years, somebody will wound a deer or something, and I just load her up, and we just go to work. I mean, it's crazy. You put them on the blood trail, and you're off. Yeah, it's.
How do you keep them from? Well, like in that situation, I've always wondered this about. How do you train a dog not to drive one and to tree one? Is it about giving them enough time for the animal to find the tree,
Absolutely.
or is it about running them to the tree?
What are you talking about?
Well, like I'm saying, like on a rabbit, you can push a rabbit too hard and really push that circle out, or push it in a straight line. Deer, you ain't gonna circle a deer, you know, with a beagle. You're just gonna keep pushing.
Well, you're not going to circle a bear or a coon either. That's
They
not going to
tree.
happen. Yeah, they will. They'll
A deer
tree,
will
and you
tree.
got to push it hard,
they will.
fast.
Yeah, they will.
So push it hard and fast.
They will. They'll run all day. They'll run 20 miles, or they'll maybe run 3. And I've seen them And it all depends about the time of year you're at, all that stuff, where you find them.
Vegetation.
I've seen them run the top of a mountain all day. The dogs just chase them right around there. And they'll run. If you get a young cub, 2 years old, the dogs are in it. The bear's in good shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not fat. They ain't been laying around. They're just cubs, and they'll run them.
When's the season down there? So is this like pre-hibernation, post-hibernation? Is that what they're doing?
The rules, they're trying to get them changed right now. That's the reason it's so hard kind of living a high in bear dogs. But they only let non-residents go down in September. But if you're a resident of West Virginia, you can run the bear dogs all year round. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So then,
so you're only allowed to go run them
September to February. I'm only allowed to go like during the kill seasons. So
you got to train and kill and do everything right there
in like probably 5 months. Yeah, it's rough.
I'll get you an apartment down there or something.
Well, we're working on it.
But so
not only that, though, trip fishing. If you got a camp down there, I'm West Virginia. Everybody should go down there. Even just riding the Jeep. There's Jeep trails, all that stuff. They stock the Elk River at the beginning of the year, maybe 10, 15, 20 times. You can catch trout. It's just awesome. This is a good time.
yeah, there's a lot going on down there in West Virginia.
Oh yeah.
Well, sporting with all of this with sporting is a big income, really, as far as the state, the local communities, the motels, the restaurants, that kind of,
I watched it when I had the bar. I watched, there was a lot of guys. I met a lot of guys that were just here, just strictly to hunt. And I'd be like, I'd ask him, as a guy from here, I'd get to know him and I'd start talking to him and I'd say, where are you hunting? And they might have 5 acres that they're hunting. And they've come down from Michigan. And I'm like,
yes.
Well, like 2 miles from you, there's 3,000 that's public that you can hunt. And they're like, no, where's, or they're down here hunting public. And they'll come down and they'll spend an enormous amount of time.
Well, look at the big growth in folks who are going out and renting the property and creating a business, which we have at least one in Jackson County that does that. And they charge people from out of state to come in, and it's not unusual to be $3,000 to $5,000.
Oh no, yeah.
Oh no, not at all.
That's pretty standard.
Plus lodging and all the things that goes with it. People come in to do that. In fact, we sold one of our top hounds back, maybe 3 years ago, and a fellow begging Michael to guide him on a deer hunt in Jackson County.
Yeah.
Because they want them big northern white-tailed deer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Compared to, of course, I live in South Carolina now, established in residency there. And they talk about big deer. Well, they're kind of puny.
Yeah.
Dogs here.
Yeah. And when you
But they have bear there.
oh yeah. In fact, where I live now, I've had a bear visitor. The next morning, he left his deposit in my front yard.
Yeah.
We also have copperheads and water, cottonmouths, and that sort of thing.
Have you
too.
seen much of snakes or reptile life down there?
Yes, and it causes showers in your house to work because I moved a barbecue grill just a couple weeks ago. And I thought, well, the cover on the barbecue grill's crooked. I'll straighten that up. I just reached down to pick the bottom, and there was a copperhead coiled maybe 10 inches from my hand. Now, he wasn't flicking no tongue or nothing. He had them beady eyes right on me. I'm thinking, what the hell do I do now? And I started to ease my hand back, and he did not, of course, copperhead as a normal thing are not aggressive.
Right. Yeah.
And so I pulled that back, and he's still alive today, not by choice because I didn't have anything to kill him with.
Yeah.
And the time I did, he was gone.
Yeah.
But then my neighbor, who lives probably 100, 150, 200 yards from me, he killed one in his backyard. I mean, they're there, but you got to keep their hiding place. And what it was, it hid underneath that grill, waiting for a mouse or something to go by for him to get it. And so, yes, and that's the same thing you venture out here in the woods.
That's in West Virginia, rattlesnakes. I've seen so many rattlesnakes, you wouldn't think when you see one, it's like seeing a bear. You're like, man, is that really what it is? Oh, yeah. It's just crazy, and you could be right here and you wouldn't even know. That's how well they blend in, on rocks and stuff.
Boy.
We don't see too many of them out riding, but I don't. Usually I'm in stuff that's scaring them away. If you
Well, they don't
want to see you.
No.
Yeah,
they'll keep shuffling right along.
Yep. And if you, just like out of the house, if you keep everything mowed back, they don't, you don't have too many problems. You will over now and then.
But there's in the hunting thing, there's a lot of good times on the harvesting is the camaraderie amongst your hunting friends, as you well know. Here. And a lot of jokes. And if you don't care, I'll tell one little thing that happened, because about everybody knows Lloyd White, and Lloyd and I were coon hunters for many years. But at first night of season, in fact, I'll tell you where it was out here on 93 North, along those railroad tracks, and it had rained and everything was flooded, and the dogs treed a coon. The creek's clear full. Lloyd shoots the coon out, and where does it land? But in the water. So we're on the other side on the railroad tracks. So I wade to get through that, clear to my chest, get across, and the dogs, of course, the coon is not dead. So I get a hold of the dogs. Dogs drag me into the water. They get a hold of the coon. I'm holding the dogs back. Lloyd, he said, I'll get him. So he gets the coon by the tail. He's going to pull the coon up and flip it up on the land. What happens?
He turned.
The dogs turn loose of the coon. Lloyd's feet comes out from underneath, down in the water. Dogs knock me down in on top of Lloyd, the coon, and they're fighting. Oh. And what do? I can't do anything but lay there and laugh. I mean, they finally get the coon under control, get the dogs under, and Lloyd said, I ought to kill you. He said, look at my damned arms. If they got holes in them where the dogs was biting him and the coons are biting him, and now you're laying over and laughing. I mean, it was like Jerry Clower, shoot in amongst us. Somebody has to have some relief here.
Yeah.
And I could go on all night with stories like that. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, I've had some of my best memories have been hunting, man. It's that's why he and I we always every time I see him, I'm like, hey, what's the latest? How many bears? I didn't know your daughter had killed one. I think maybe you did tell me that.
Yeah.
Well, when Michael went in the Marines, I started coon hunting by myself a lot. Mm-hmm. My wife finally put an end to it. She said, as old and as clumsy as you are, you're going to get out there in the woods, you're going to get a leg broke, fall in a hole.
That's not what she said. She said he wasn't coon hunting.
Well, there is one little deal that happened at the Bridge Inn. The guy said he'd been coon hunting, by the way, and he come home and he was wore out, and the dogs was wore out and all that stuff. And she said, "You're a lying SOB," because I've had the damn dogs here. I went down and got them out of the box at the Bridge Inn.
They got to tell me what time he said it was the best coon dogs I ever had. I said, "Why is that?" He said, "They don't bark in the box." Yeah. So, anything else we need to talk about, Chad?
No,
you haven't said two words.
No, I
tonight.
tried to stay out of the way, man. I learned a lot there. I kind of enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. But,
so you're down in South Carolina now. Anything you want to tell anybody? Kiss your ass while we got you on here? Anything?
I think most of them already know it, and they know the smell of it.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know you'd left the area.
Well, we're not 100%. My house is still here for sale, and in fact, we're up here this weekend, and we're back and forth. And I've resigned from about all the things that I belong to, and the activities I was involved in. I got one more.
Got your life back.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Ain't bad, is it?
And
not a year short of 82.
Do you regret doing it that long?
No, not a bit of it.
So I'm talking about the civic stuff. You're now that you're completely out, and you're back to doing what you love to do, or hanging out with your grandson or whatever. Do you wish that you would have kept back earlier, or are you glad you did it?
No, I'm glad I did it just the way I did it. I wouldn't change a thing. Yeah. There are a few people that really I don't give a damn what they do. I don't.
Yeah.
But they're by and large, Jackson was always a big supporter of mine. I was involved in it for 40 years.
Yeah.
And how many people can say that? That's even for a Democrat in Jackson, by the way. And
I thought you was for Trump.
yeah, but people, I really did. I had a lot of support, but I worked hard at it. And when I was a kid, and I left here at 17 in 1957, when in the Marines. Took me 10 years to figure out how to get out, but I was there. There were no jobs. And that's one of the things that I dedicated my life to, and thank God Burley and Tom Evans and lots of people on the council and stuff helped us do it here in Jackson. I can look back at the hydroelectric plant that we ended up building that people thought was nuts when we did it. We got out of the AEP hold and had to completely own our own electric system. And the various things that happened, Bellicio's, it was dormant and out of the way, and that could happen.
Big stuff.
Big stuff that created a lot. In fact, the railroad at City of Jackson that we end up buying. A lot of people don't know it, but I gave testimony in the United States Congress. The governor flew me, Dick Celeste flew me with the state's plane to give testimony. And I'm thinking, by the way, I go into this hall. We're picked up by the congressman and was taken in to give his testimony. And I'm thinking, you're going to give testimony for the Transportation Committee of Congress. Well, I'm thinking it's 3 or 4 people. Oh, hell, there must have been 50, 75 of them sitting at a table up there. And here's a room that is full, probably anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 people. In fact, an old guy come up to me and said, son, do you know what's going on here? I said, no, sir, I ain't got a clue. He said, well, I'm from Vinton County. And he said, I work for the AEP wire service. Been at this a long time. Let me explain to you how this works. And so come my time, there were the big railroad people were there giving testimony as to why they ought to do with this program that we used to buy the local railroad with. And he said, so the chairman of that committee, he said, you support the legislation? I said, yes, sir, we do. And I said, I'm here on behalf of Governor Celeste and so forth. And yes, the governor supports it. And he said, well, how did you come up with the formula using our money? He said, but how did you come up the other 20%? Well, I said, I sat at the desk at the city building with a calculator and talk to the people who would be the users and let them loan the city of Jackson the money. And then we pay it back over the revenue that the railroad generated. He said, how much more money have you had to come to the government to keep a railroad going? I said, none. So he turns and looks around and he said, you kidding me? We've got a program that's worked for 5 years and we're thinking about doing away with it. It sounds about the way we work in the government. But no, I wouldn't do anything different. It's just been great to the city of Jackson. I think is a great community, and but it's time to move on. It's time for younger people and new ideas.
That's the big downfall now. Everybody's seeing, it's just a lack of participation. It's
it's a lot easier to sit back and gripe about what them guys are doing and instead of doing something yourself.
Yeah.
There's there's lots of all the clubs basically around town. I'm involved in a lot of them are hurting in numbers. They need more people. We need young people.
They want money to show up.
Yeah, nobody wants to do anything.
Nobody wants to do anything.
I don't know what it is, but
Well, pandemic has hurt some. But I don't care where you're talking about the Jackson County Coon Hunters Club or you're talking about the Rotary Club or you're talking about the Lions Club or whatever.
Yeah.
People want to hire somebody else to do it for them.
Yeah.
Most people are just plain lazy. I don't know how else you put it.
Yeah.
Why else would you sit around right now and look at all these for hiring? We're hiring and no applying for the job. No. Sit back and waiting for a check to come from the government. Well, I'm telling you right now, not everybody. Now, this is coming from a good Democrat. Everybody can't live out of the mailbox. Somebody's got to
turn the wheel.
As Art Stockmeister used to say, said somebody has to throw snow under the runners, keep that sled going.
Yep.
Yeah, there's.
Well, and I mean, the thing that I think people need to appreciate is, hey, man, that's going to come to an end.
Yes.
So you better,
I hate to say this, but if this crisis, I went in Wendy's the other day. Sorry, Brad, it was too far a walk to McDonald's. And I went in Wendy's, and it was total meltdown going on. And
they're all working at about 50% capacity. As far as
there was four people there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I happened to know the kid that was running the thing. I said, "So how old are you now?" He said, 16. And I thought, man, you got 15 people in line. You got 7 cars in the drive-thru.
He's catching all.
Okay. Yeah. And I thought,
poor kid. Yeah.
And I thought, this is awful. And I said, take your time, Bill. Take your time.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I was thinking to myself yesterday. We was coming back from Rocky Fork, and I was. This has been bothering me.
Yeah.
All my buddies are looking for people. Everybody I know is looking for people.
Oh yeah.
There's just nobody can find any workers. It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I don't know, but so I thought if this keeps up, I just happened to at the same time I was having this thought. I was driving. No, it was the other day whenever we was on our way to the Paints game. And we was going through the prisons right there.
Yeah.
And I thought, if it gets any worse to where a man can't even go get him a sandwich, you might as well cut some of these people into a work release program.
Yeah.
And let's start getting some stuff staffed at least.
Let's have them make some sandwiches.
This is your jail now.
Let's treat this like knockout or something.
Yeah.
Well, you was talking about, do I regret doing anything? We got in the new house that we built, I've got an office set up in it. I was in there the other day, and my wife come by and she said, "What in the world are you doing?" Well, I had a call from so-and-so back at Jackson, and they was wanting to know about and there. So honestly, you would not believe the number of hours I spend a week of people calling me here, what was behind this?
Yeah.
Why did this happen? How did this happen? But I was at it for 40 years.
Yeah.
You probably enjoy doing that from time to time, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, I mean,
I do, and
keeps you involved.
And
he was a service director for 23 years, wasn't it? Or 22?
22 plus.
And he was a Democrat. I mean, he didn't get fired.
Yeah.
He must have been, it was a Republican mayor.
Well,
stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a Republican mayor.
It's something that...
And I think that's something to be learned in Washington, D.C., and in our capital in Columbus, and right here in Jackson County. Not every Democrat is stupid. Mm-hmm. Not every Republican is a
genius.
Yeah. So you have to work together. Mm-hmm. And did everybody that I worked with on both political aisles, did I like? No. I wasn't going to marry none of them.
Sure.
Wasn't going to live with none of them.
Right.
But you have to function. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And that's what you got to do. You got to learn. I don't care what, you can have the best idea in the world, and I can have total opposite. We're neither one going to get all we want.
Yeah.
So there's no sense burning the stable down because we didn't. One little whiny kids didn't get what we wanted.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's a compromise in there that's a benefit to the community and to the state of Ohio and to the United States. Mm-hmm. And that's what we all need to look for. Mm-hmm. Don't be looking at what the party labels are.
Yeah.
And I worked for 2 great mayors, and not once did they ever come in and say, we want you to hire so-and-so because of his politics. Never happened.
Yeah.
We tried to hire the best person that applied for the job, because the best way to do a sorry job is go to hiring by politics.
Yeah.
Pretty soon you got a bunch of freeloaders that won't work. Well, I got my job by politics, and that's all they want to do. So you have to perform and do the job. And to me, that's just a proper way to do it. There is one little, I know you run short on time, but there is one little thing that happened, and I won't mention the names because it probably pissed some people off yet, but I try not to worry too much about it. But we was looking at on South Street where the people that was released from the mental institutions and so forth, where they've lived for a number of years. and it was
Ricardo's.
yeah. What was having to do was change the.
Did you read that big debacle in the paper?
No, believe it or not, I had a fellow tell me about it today, but
They're about to protest down there at the next
but this,
so far out of it.
but this, we had to change the zoning for that to occur on that particular building. And I guess I'm just sitting there as a member of council at the time, just sitting there with a smile on my face. Didn't realize it. I was just watching the show of people for it and some against it. And finally, one of the ladies jumped flat on me. She said, Mr. Speaker, I don't understand what's so funny about this. You're trying to help destroy our neighborhood and going through this. She said, what do you think it was so funny? And you was laughing. I said, I thought maybe that if the people who were wanting to live there knew what kind of a neighborhood they were moving into, maybe they wouldn't want to be here either.
Yeah.
It was not a happy moment for me. I mean, there's people mad.
Yeah.
But the zoning got changed. To me, people need to stop that. These people are great people, and the biggest thing that they ever done when I was on council, I said, every holiday, they always had a delegation to come up to the city building and invite the mayor and I to come down for a little party he's going to have. I said they had the sweetest cookies and absolutely the sourest lemonade I ever ate, but they were good people.
I got an admission I gotta make.
Yeah.
I got Facebook back.
There you go, bud.
Well, I've already seen, just like him bringing up missiles. I've already been. It's too much.
Well,
I got.
See, I haven't been on Facebook in 2.5 days. I feel like I don't know anything that's going on.
Yeah, it's too much information.
Yeah.
It's too much. Too much.
Yeah.
But that's how I keep track on if you've killed anything or not.
Huh?
That's how I keep track on if you've killed
I don't
anything.
post that much stuff though. There's one other thing that I wanted to bring up with my grandpa here. We was both in the same war zones. I think it was pretty cool in Lebanon.
Oh,
And
both in the Marines.
we was both in the Marines. And what year was you in Lebanon?
I was in Lebanon in July of 1958.
And I was there in 2006, and I was seeing everything that he saw.
The same damn thing. We was there that far apart.
Yeah.
Evacuated the American.
Yeah, and that was the first time that, of course, I'd been in something over a year, and it was the first time that's how I got the Expeditionary Medal. But they brought us in by airplane to the airstrip. Now, keep in mind, the 6th Marines already had the runway secured.
Okay.
Well, they're bringing in more Marines for us to expand. I'm one of those guys. And the plane's coming in to land, and you hear, and what it was is damn bullets coming through the side of people shooting at you with firearms.
Yeah.
And in the middle of this plane was long-range fuel tanks filled with aviation fuel.
Oh, my.
Granted, that's all. The only thing going right down the runway, shoving us and the gear out, turn that plane around and take off again.
Yeah.
Because they
Hot. Coming in hot.
Oh, I'm telling
Get
you.
it out.
And you say, hell, this is real.
Well, we'd love to bring you guys back on.
Yeah. Now we got to get into that.
Oh man,
absolutely.
we got some, man.
Yeah.
Anything else? So we need
No, thank you guys for joining us. That was
I know
awesome.
we're windy, but
No, it was
No,
good.
that's great.
I've been. I want to hear more about the bear hunting. So.
I just want to invite people out to the Jackson Coon Club. Normally it's sometime in October. This Farmer Sportsman helped us out. Jayco Concrete and Carmen's Used Cars. They all sponsored us last year, and we're looking for sponsors this year. But it's all for the youth. It's Youth Day, and we fish, we feed them, we hunt.
You guys have a website, Facebook page?
Yeah, we got a Facebook page, and we'll post it up on there. But any youth that wants to come, and their parents too, it's fishing. It's one whole day, even if you don't want to stay. I'm a pretty good babysitter.
Yeah.
Drop them off. Seriously, I don't care. It's I'm just trying to promote. They're the
Jackson
future.
Coon
Yep, they're the future.
Well, it really does my heart good to see Michael picking up a lot of the things that I was involved in, and he's dedicated again to. It's all about the kids.
Oh yeah, yeah. You've done good at this one. I like it.
He's doing all right.
Buddy right there.
Yeah,
And Ryan ain't bad either.
he still likes to eat them damn Slim Jims and Twinkies.
Hey, guys, like and subscribe. We'll see you next trip. See you.